This video may not look that unusual at first glance, but we guarantee you've never seen anything quite like this before. When the Hot Rod Hoodlums Land Speed Racing team approached famed engine builder Keith Dorton about building a new power plant for the 34 Ford they'll be racing in a new class, he settled on a decidedly outside-the-box plan. The Hoodlums want to set a new speed record in a class where the engine size is limited to 260 cubic inches or smaller. Where many builders would look to take an already small engine and soup it up, Dorton realized the best way to make big, dependable horsepower with small displacement is efficiency. So he chose a Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet SP2 that raced in NASCAR as the foundation for this build because it excels at squeezing the most power possible from every drop of fuel. And even though NASCAR and superchargers are like oil and water, Dorton got the idea to throw a centrifugal blower on the front and shoot for nearly 1,000 horsepower.
This is a engine that we built for specifically for land speed racing. It's 260 cubic inches to meet the class. That makes it a real small cubic inch per cylinder, and it's really hard to get compression. So we got the idea of this would be a perfect engine to put a blower on. To fit the class and make the record that's in the class, we figured we needed maybe 900 horsepower should be more than adequate to break the record. So we work with a ProCharger and New Era Performance on helping us with what size blower and so forth, how much boost we need. We decided on 10 pounds. So far the preliminary test has exceeded our expectations without really beating up on it. So it should be pretty durable, and hopefully it'll be able to break the record in a couple different cars.
The engine is a new SP2 block with used NASCAR cylinder heads and a billet segmented dry sump oil pan. For the rotating assembly, Dorton had a Windberg crank machined with a short stroke of slightly longer than 2.5 inches. Mated to the crank are 6-inch 350 thousandths rods from Carrillo and Molle custom pistons. Although the intake manifold seems similar to an LS style manifold, it's also quite unique.
Well, this manifold was actually not built specifically for this engine. This is a billet manifold. It's made by Wilson, and it was made for a different application. This manifold I don't think would work as well on a bigger cubic inch engine because it's very restricted as far as the length of the runners. It's made to try to make some bottom end power, but it's perfect for this little small 32 cubic inch per cylinder engine.
The low front snout was also helpful because it's critical to get everything under the hood on this roadster without anything sticking out. And that placement allows for the ProCharger blower and custom fabricated heat exchanger to mount up snug to the front of the block. The biggest expected hurdle, how to control all these different pieces that weren't originally intended to work together, turned out not to be a big deal after all. All the complex engine controls are handled by one of Holley's off-the-shelf Dominator EFI systems.
Most of the rest of our background with electronics has been through Holley. So we contacted them about this particular project and found their HP system should be more than adequate for what we're going to do and seem to be very user-friendly. And Jeff can tell you more about that as we go on, but we've already corrected a lot of issues with this thing. We're able to monitor so many parameters, and we've been able to tune cylinder to cylinder with it by using individual lambdas on each primary. The Holley system comes with 2 air fuel sensors for each tailpipe, which we have, and that gives us bank to bank, but the individual cylinder thing is a real plus.
Well, we chose the Dominator system mainly because they wanted to do some stuff with the car. They wanted to be able to use traction control, and we needed more inputs and outputs for temperature sensors and that sort of thing. And it was talked about of down the road doing drive-by-wire, and also the Dominator has the capability of doing the second O2 sensor. So that was big on our end. So that was worth the long having 2 O2s instead of just coming off the the regular left.
This is a little different, but you know, there's no room for error. You know, so we have to monitor all these parameters, and we have to be able to make corrections. So this system allowed us to do it.
On the dyno, the little 260 outperformed expectations and produced slightly over 1,000 horsepower. That's about 50 more than Dorton estimated is needed for the Hoodlums to run to target 235 miles per hour at Bonneville. So we actually dialed back the boost a bit to drop the power down to 950 in order to protect the valve train and connecting rods on those long top speed blasts.